Chair Summers, it's all yours. We are live.
Thank you so much. First of all, welcome. For everybody that is joining via virtually, I guess, we will let the people in the room introduce themselves, so you know who's in the room. We'll start with, myself. How you doing? William A. Summers V, and I'm chairman of the Finance Committee. Mike Nagel, Port One Neighborhood Representative.
J. Michael Brown, Simmons College.
Laura Douglas, Weston Opportunity Partnership.
And Amy Covage for council.
Rita, do you need to say who you are?
Rita Phillips, Executive Administrator.
Thank you. Now we will call the meeting to order with the first thing on the agenda is just reviewing these financials. And there's really nothing abnormal on here. I'm not going to, we don't need to approve these at the full board meeting. But if you have any questions about what you see here, we can address those at this time.
Chair Summers, we do have Dr. Craddock on line. I don't know if I mentioned that to you or not.
Oh,
He's on the committee. Yes.
do you mind stating who you are since you are joining via virtual?
No, sir, not at all. Douglas Craddock from the University of Louisville. I'm traveling today, but great to be here.
Thank you.
As I said, I mean, if there's no questions on these, we can move forward. Like I said, it's pretty basic and consistent with our expenses that we have. Then no questions, no comments. We'll move forward. Want to thank Amy for working on this RFP, just getting the first draft of this out. As we, like I said, I think this is one of the main things that we need to do from a finance committee standpoint is to get a financial advisor that can advise us and make sure that we're dotting all our i's, crossing our t's, and doing everything that we're supposed to do from a fiduciary standpoint. So I think this was sent out. Amy, do you want to go over it and then we can have some discussion, or what do you?
Yeah, sure. This is just trying to brainstorm and figure out like the broadest scope of services we might need from the mundane as far as just essentially keeping the checkbook and doing payroll, all the way up to managing our investments and giving us any advice about the TIF, the tax base, projections, and all of that. I think the questions are going to be, what all of these services do we want to put out a request for? Do we want to put out one single request and ask to, and reserve ourselves the right to award to multiple entities in case, you know, the entity who keeps the checkbook may not need to be the person who advises on investments or the other issues. Just how do we want to structure this? But this was to get something on paper and for us to start thinking about how we want to go about this. A lot of this is taken from the Arena Authority's RFPs. So that's kind of was the beginning of this, and it's massaged a little.
And I think you did a pretty good first draft job. And as far as breaking these up and how the RFP in my mind, we have one firm that is responsible, and then they may bring in different team members that they have. I'm sure that they would probably be people within that organization. Hopefully nothing have to be outsourced. I mean, but that was, we would see as we get, you know, we get the people commenting and returning their proposal for us, but with the Arena Authority, it was just one financial advisor and then the other scopes of work that needed to be performed still went up through the financial advisor that ultimately was awarded work.
I do think that what you see on the paper now is really good in terms of the subject, what are all the tasks that we would want a financial advisor to do. One thing that I want to do is I contacted Kelly Watson, the general counsel at MSD. Remember that MSD has a really good reputation for doing RFPs that are engaging and that kind of push their prospective vendors to think in terms of how they can show their connections with women and minorities, provide a certain professional services. Kelly is away from the office right now because we had some minor surgery, but she says she could send me a sample of one of their RFPs back, because one of the things that we may want to look at is in the selection criteria, what are the things that we really want to look at, differentiate between vendors. We may ask ask our vendors, say, to tell us how many women of people of color they have in their management. We may want them to furnish a copy of what their workforce inclusion plans are, something of that nature, so you can get a better idea of character of the fund. And I'm raising all of that because part of what I'm really mindful of is when we think about what our profile is in the community and we think about the part of the community that would represent it, I think that it's important for us to form these partnerships with companies that look like the community that so
100%.
I think it would be helpful that if we got a little, just looked at one of the best RFPs are kind of incorporated.
No doubt.
They're what they're for us.
And that was one of the things I did, what brought up saying from the standpoint of that. You know, I think that we need to try to do business with firms and organizations that intentional, that are women owned, minority owned, people of color owned. And we need to be intentional about that. Now, in some things where the scope of work we may run into problems finding local firms that fit that criteria, then what we did have to do, make sure we're here. If you're gonna be doing this, we gotta look at your company, we gotta look at the team that's gonna be
Yes.
assigned to this. And at the end of the day, if this team doesn't look like our community, then, I mean, that's not gonna be scoring, that needs to be a part of the scoring criteria.
And let me say too, Lenny, I apologize for not bringing this up. But my whole life has just been focused somewhere else. So, in thinking about being here today, that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. How is it that we can make our RFP really reflect what our values are as a group, and what we are really looking for in any kind of part that we select, help us accomplish our objectives.
And I think that one of the ways that we do that is make sure that it's a partner criteria. I mean, at the end of the day, this is what, we're trying to create economic opportunity and feel an area that has been neglected, and I want to make sure that the companies and individuals that we're doing business with look like
Yes.
the individuals that we are trying to lift up and the communities that we are trying to lift up. So I mean, I think that it definitely was that, like I said, one of the ways is definitely in the criteria. And then, like I said, we just have to be intentional about making sure that whoever we are doing businesses, whoever is working with us. They know and understand our intentionality and what we expect. Yes, sir, Mike.
So, and I have similar concerns in different areas. I think looking at the scope of work, if we'll try to find one group that does all of this stuff, it's gonna be a very small, narrow group. And I think, not only does who we're working with need to look like the community, I think some of it needs to be from our community. And like some of the basic, there's bookkeeping companies, I know there's CPAs, from the West End. And we do need to be inclusionary to those groups. And so I think there's a risk in trying to find one size fits all, and that we're gonna exclude the people that we're trying to raise up in our own community. If maybe we put some constraints on it. I don't know, I think there's a risk. I can see the idea of it's easier to manage if we have one contact. That's great, but then, we're funneling all of that through one probably large group, and that doesn't really reflect, the people in our community.
I understand your concern, but like I said, in dealing with this is my personal opinion. That from a management standpoint, we do want a smaller group, but as we do that, that small group has to be still have team members and look like and be committed to the communities that we're serving. So I think that there's ways to do that without carving this out, because I think that could get a little hectic. And I don't think that would be the most efficient way to move forward. But I hear your concerns, and I think that, like I said, we need to make sure that, how we make this look, and how whatever decision we made, whoever is the advisors or whoever's working on this understand the commitment to the community, and they're gonna exhibit that, and we're gonna see that.
We just have to be mindful of how it looks to the community and include them, bring them along 100%.
Yes, ma'am.
But we are open to, so if it is a bookkeeping or a CPA within the community, I know a majority of the ones that I know that maybe a smaller scale, they partner up with someone else.
Exactly.
So we're open to saying, okay, you're in the community, you're of the community, but if you're partnered up with somebody, we need to know who you're partnered up with. Am I understanding you correct?
Right, and my thing is, I think that's a way, like I said, man, as we get these RFPs, when they say, okay, hey, we want 50% of the people working on this and doing work from this, and that to be, no, to be a woman, to be people of color. I know, you can do things like that to make sure that the individuals that you're trying to give opportunities and create economic opportunity, create things for, it's in here, and we make sure that that happens.
Well, and that was one question I was gonna have in trying to put this together. I got pulled up, MSD's information. And it's not the language from the RFP, but it's information about their supplier diversity program. And they do have subcontract goals. And do we want to set or recommend the board set explicit subcontractor goals for MVE and WBE? And do we want any explicit validation of a minority owned or women owned business as part of this, which would be, I think, different. Not that we wouldn't want some kind of validation, but I think having a formal process is difficult for us.
Well, let me also say it looks like get to the board meeting next week. As a committee, it sounds like we're not going to be in a position of saying this is our recommended RF.
Right. No.
So we're going to have a little bit more time. I do think it would be helpful if we had someone from MSD either to meet with the committee or to meet with the full board to talk about their supplier diversity. Maybe it would be better for for them to do a presentation to this group first. So you can understand what they're doing, how they set their goals, what their success rate is, how they monitor, etc.
Right.
And that'll give us a better idea of how to fine tune this art. And again, perhaps what we report to the board is that we have reviewed a first draft, and then what our interests are as we think about contract. And also our plans to meet with representatives who have successful programs.
To fine tune this, to make
Yes.
sure before we recommend the RFP document to the board,
Yes.
to the street.
Yes.
I think that's exactly one thing. And I would encourage, like I said, everybody, you have these, and if you have any questions, or you go home and say, hey, I'm thinking about this, let Amy know and let us disseminate, make sure that everything gets addressed, because at the end of the day, look here. It may not look exactly like individually where we think it should, but I want to address and make sure that we have discussion and make sure that what it winds up being addresses the things, everything that people are thinking that is important, to make sure that, we keep in mind our mission. Anything else?
My only concern is, a lot of the businesses are in our community may not be certified yet. So if that's something that we want them to be, then we can say in transition to become that, or in the process of becoming minority owned or woman owned business. You know what I'm saying? Because unfortunately, I know for a fact when I do business webinars and trying to encourage people, they know about the tax ID number, the EIN, but they don't understand what those certifications actually mean. And maybe that's a point that we can educate them as well as encourage them to get those certifications.
Well, and I do think that as we meet with MSD and whoever else we meet
Get a
with,
better
as we try, those are gonna be issues that people we've dealt with, and see how we handle some of those to make sure that we try to help and guide the businesses so they can hopefully be a part of the project if they have the expertise and want to be that.
But then in the final analysis, when we do strike up a business relationship, if it's in the context of us making a decision to do business with X, because they are a woman-owned business or they are a minority-owned business, it is critical in my mind for them to have the certification. And
Absolutely.
that we do business.
Absolutely.
It's critical. Otherwise, we are
Picking,
we're misrepresenting
right.
ourselves to folk. And it really doesn't do anybody a favor if appear to be half-stepping, because that just creates misunderstanding.
And like I said, now I know my expertise and my experience goes back to Supreme. We dealt with all those, and we did leave effort and getting, companies certified and making sure that they had what they needed to be a part of the project. I mean, we set very aggressive minority participation goals there, and it was the first project in this community that actually did that and hit those. And now I think other projects that come, the Urban League track have done that, and they've been very successful at being able to do that. So I really hopefully I don't see that being a problem as long as we get the document and the wording and get the criteria like we want it to be. I think that can be something that can be done and be done very successfully. Vice Chairman Brown, you've been kind of quiet over it. You good? Okay, I mean, does anybody else have anything as far as along those lines, or Laura, do you have any? I mean, first of all, I didn't really acknowledge personally some of the things that you've been going through. This everybody here's been thinking about you and know that, if you need anything from a personal standpoint, we're here for you and we want to support you in any way that you want us to.
I appreciate that very much. And I often say, you know, what they say about idle hands and the devil. So it's important for me to get back to the staff.
Well, let me tell you
Stay
something.
out of this.
It is, I think it's a testament to your commitment to the community, to the work. That even when things are pretty rough personally, you're here. And not only are you here, but you are still getting things done in the Lord Douglas way, which is the most professional way that I understand. So I really appreciate that. Rita, do we have anything else?
That was the last item on the agenda.
Now, the only thing that we do, that we're just gonna make, we don't have the stockyards.
Well, that was for you. And are you gonna be at the board meeting
Yeah,
Monday?
I'll bring it to the board meeting Monday so we can make sure that we get.
Yeah, I forgot them today.
Yeah.
Lack, no sleep, so I forgot them.
So we'll get that done at the board meeting.
Yeah,
Uh,
and they want all the signatures on the same page. It's not like I can give you a copy and you a copy. So we'll do it at the board meeting and Dr. Milliner will be there as well.
is-
What we're speaking to, Alicia, are the signatures now, where you and David were. I know you're so, look at you're smiling. And it'd be,
We'll be, I'll get
yeah, you got me.
Yes.
Okay.
Laura, do you have any, thing you want to update, or anything? No. I think that's it. Michael, do you have anything? Amy, is there anything else we need to?
We do have that follow-up provision for paying the bills that finance committee is supposed to do a resolution. If you want to just, as a committee, bless bills, and I can do a resolution for this.
How do you, you want me to make a motion, or do I need?
I mean, we've got what's been paid in the last month. I think it would probably just be a good idea for paperwork purposes to do that,
Okay.
to just get the committee to bless it, and we'll do.
But it
And I can bring it Monday.
expenses that you're on here, so you can get those paid.
Yeah, because I'll be preparing that prior to tomorrow,
Yeah.
once I get some sleep for the month of February, so.
Last month we had the form.
I've got one, or I can, or I can bring it Monday and type it up and type everything in and bring it to you Monday for execution. Like that, yes, I got you.
But in any event, all of the financial information.
Is right, yeah. See,
Yeah.
it's
Where is the support documentation?
That's,
Not that I don't even see it, I just.
it's with, Russell Development Company, our physical agent.
And then the hard copy stuff, we have electronic file.
Yes.
And I have hard copy too.
But like the receipts.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm. And all that gets scanned
Yes.
into a monthly file. Okay, and then that's what gets sent up to Otis after Laura reviews it. It's pretty standard on the financials.
Yes.
But anytime anybody, they have it from an accounting standpoint, we have the raw information copies. And it's scanned into one PDF file.
And then they get that.
I'd rather have a paper trail that's individual considered. So that there's no questions 6 months after.
What do you need? Do you say?
Is that the form that it's got? All right.
Oh, okay, you're talking about, you'd like to sign a form on. I thought you meant you want to see the individual license.
What we can do is I can incorporate all of the ledger report, all the activity into resolution to be signed by Lynn. Finance manager.
One, it just needs to be extremely, for my purposes, extremely.
And again, all of that information is in.
Right,
the Financial
It's
report that you just reviewed.
But this is way subject to interpretation, so let's do it. The business balance sheet,
If I was thinking the ledger would be what was incorporated into the resolution.
I'd rather have this done itemized, this you're transferring from one account to another. Everybody will understand it better if we've got a list, we don't have to worry about people not understanding. Yeah.
So help me out, I'll make sure I understand. So this is the documentation there with the financial information today that shows date, the name of the payment, now the money and all of that.
More than all.
I think this level of detail is fine, but it needs to be
I think,
itemized in one list.
yeah, he just wants this list incorporated into the resolution. I think it's all.
Okay, so this list is okay, but we just put it with yours.
That list
Okay.
is the resolution.
Okay,
Is that what you're saying? I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
but having this as documentation with a few people outside. This.
I'm sorry, it's still not following. Is that the resolution?
Oh, it's a form, but all he's saying is he wants the debits on here incorporated directly into the document.
These,
Now, this is part of the information that was distributed prior to today's.
I got you. So the
Yes.
general ledger, I'm with the general ledger and I'm with the resolution. But what Mike is asking is that you want all of this detail within this resolution prior to signing.
yes. What do you think about that?
From an accountant perspective, I think that's overkill.
I don't think, we don't need, I
But
think the ledgers, yeah, we just need.
the ledgers is a requirement. This needs to be included somehow, but you can always refer to it as something. You can refer to the ledger and the dates within the resolution.
That's really all that needs to be in there, because like I said, the information is.
I'll pull some stuff out of that and send it to you guys in your email.
And I'll draft it however the committee wants me to distribute it.
Okay, it should be
Yeah.
referred to so that it's clear. I understand that. As long as we know where the supporting documentation is located as well. And I'm assuming it's like some type of drive or timestamp.
It's Google Drive.
Perfect.
And I'm still loading in all kind of stuff, but yeah, but I have to do it every month. And Laura sees it before we send it up there for him to issue checks. Or before we email it to him, we don't send it up there, because they're in Lexington. Yeah, and he issues checks from that once it's approved.
So for approval purpose for this group, do I need a motion to approve? I mean, how do I need to?
I would do a motion to approve the ledger activity for the past month.
Ledger expenses for the past month. So can I get a motion for that? So moved. Can I get a second? There any other question? If not, all in
So that was
favor?
Mr. Brown, Ms. Burns.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. And then you bring
And
that,
then I'll bring that on, and will.
and then
Get it all
you'll say whatever you think. Yeah.
Choose.
Right. And then I'll paper it up.
Okay. Is there any other business for the committee? Laura, you good?
Yes.
Rita, we good?
We're good.
Then I'll-
Oh, I think Alicia has.
Sorry, y'all. I have just one question.
Okay.
Cause I may have missed it, so forgive me if I did. When looking over the bylaws, did we ever determine on what the finance committee requirements were, what we were supposed to do? I read the minutes, but I don't recall if we actually had, this is what our role is as a committee.
It is not expressed in the bylaws.
Okay,
It does have that there is a finance committee, and it does require the finance committee to approve expenses. Yeah, but that's really all that's expressly in it.
so who would be responsible for the internal controls, the policies and procedures, because we are a new nonprofit? Who would be responsible for gathering that data?
That is not expressed in the bylaws, right? So that's a question for the board that you all in any revisions of the bylaws want to include more explicit language about responsibilities for the treasurer, for internal controls, or.
Well, I mean, that's really, like I said, that one, that's why I think it's to get, an advisor. I mean, and once you get that, that removes really anybody, us from having, 'cause that's day-to-day operational, like, and that, we don't have staff. Usually in my mind, that's something, you know, staff, right, would do, so we have to be able to have that done.
So you still need to provide oversight of whoever we hire. So you need some kind of process.
Well, now I think that the fiduciary oversight of who we hire would still be there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there are legal obligations absent express,
Right.
yeah, expressly stating it in the bylaws. Now, once you get advisors and get everything, it would probably be a good time to do a bylaws amendment to make it all mesh, but it's probably not worthwhile to do a lot of that.
Right.
And I kind of think that's why there was not a more expansive description in the bylaws. Because things were so brand new and there was no real stand. But we're just kind of moving along cautiously and alertly, right? So after we get to a certain point, we, I think, should revisit what the responsibilities are. This, but the financial advisor will be able to help us do that. And one of the things that the financial advisor could be able to help us do that, just say that.
That, are you,
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay.
I just think that's something that we need to make clear. So it's not that we are evading it or not thinking about it. It's just something that is in the works are gonna be done by someone else, which makes sense.
that's why, like I said, the first, versus get that art, get the financial advisor, we should really fine tune and make sure that was just priority number one. In my mind, as the finance committee. Mike, you got anything else?
Chair Summers, I don't know if Dr. Craddock has questions or.
That's correct, man. You good? You got any questions?
No, all good. Appreciate you letting me join virtually today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
We'll move.
We are adjourned. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Dr. Craddock.
All right, very welcome. Y'all have a good Friday.
You too. You guys were
Thank you.
able to hear well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep.
I know, I was trying to signal to you, Mark, if you could hear. So I
Oh, I'm
turned it up.
sorry.
Yeah, I turned it up to like 70.
It sounds great.
I like this space. You can hear real good. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we're
Take
gonna
care.
sign off now. Thank you.
Michael B. Okay, what? Michael.
For the attendees. We had one attendee. Okay. All right.